Hey everybody, two for a day. I'm back. So let's jump into where we are with the Solana Alt portfolio. And I'm doing this for two reasons. One, it's a new experiment, but also what's very important in investing is to constantly evaluate performance, see how you've done, see how you've allocated, see what the returns are, and then modify your strategy accordingly. So that's part of the reason for my motivation for doing this, to show you a couple of key investment secrets, but also see how these puppies did so far too. Thank you so much, Midroy in the Czech Republic. Love it. And this is also, of course, in response to your requests, like what's going on with the SOLALTs? Which ones are the best? What should I do? Am I too late? Da 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 da. A lot of good stuff coming. And of course, this is not financial advice. And a shout out to the team on Patreon. We have a new one. Thanks to the team that does this every day. All Things Facts Daily says, I'm in Patreon and it's the best investment ever. Thank you so much for being in there. All Things Facts Daily. I like that name. Now, there is a SOLALT playlist. One thing I do want to say is I actually began the so-called SOLALT playlist before I came up with the term SOLALT. So after doing two, they were called Render and PYTH. The third one technically became the first one, but then it became the third one again. So all of these are now in the box, in the playlist, and we now have 10. I did promise 12. There's definitely a couple more coming. We just don't know what they are yet. And there's some extremely interesting projects in the hopper in the whole Solana ecosystem that will absolutely disrupt what's going on in the old world coins. And that was the whole mission for doing this in the first place. In addition, the reason I did it was because of this. This is my tweet from yesterday with nearly 80,000 views. The Solana ecosystem leads with 49% of interest in blockchain ecosystems in 2024 from CoinGecko. Not me, CoinGecko. And this was my whole gambit. All the attention goes to what I call the Solana black hole. My black hole thesis is playing out perfectly. And you heard it here first. So that just shows it as well. And the idea, a simple idea behind the SOLALT portfolio, in case you're used to it, I wanted to find winners of the last generation tokens back in 2020, 2021. Find the corollary in the Solana ecosystem, but the best one. That goes through my 10-point rigorous system of looking at tokenomics and leadership teams and product market fit, yada, yada, all that stuff. And that's where we are. Now, I also only allocated a very small amount of my Solana to the SOLALT portfolios because some of them are very, very risky. The methodology is, as you know, very detailed. And literally, if one of these 9 boxes fails, I scratch it, and I've analyzed hundreds of them so far. Sir Winston, thank you for joining. I'm going to go now real quick through the purchases and then analyze the results so far. Also the duration of holding, and still, as I said before too, my plan is to hold these for a year. Not pump them and dump them, what other places do. I buy and I hold because I believe they have a lot of upside as well. So first of all, Render, April 7th, 2023. That's nearly a year ago. Madness. Bought it at $1.35. Next is PYTH, November 22nd, 2023. Each one of these is a trade alert within Patreon, by the way. PYTH was 42 cents. Shadow, dollar, 1.026. Sometimes I have to measure these to 4 places of decimal points because they're very small. That was Shadow, January 19th, 2024. LFINITY, January 6th, 2024 at $1.06. Then there's RAYDIUM, January 21st, 2024, $1.15. It's funny the way a lot of them are like $1. Weird. NOSANA, December 18th, 2023. I got this one because I'm very bullish on AI and I thought it was a very undervalued AI play. That was 52 cents. I bought a big bag back then. And it's funny, it's only 3 months ago and it seems like years ago. Anyway, FLUXB, January 14th, 2024, 2 cents. Crazy. Jupiter. I watched this one for a month. Waited for my moment to strike. Literally waiting for all the selling to end. The minute it did, I swooped in and got it at 46 cents, which was nice. And that was February 28th, 2024. Then there's Whales Market, which is a OTC desk for retail investors for crypto. Super interesting, works across chain. Very interesting business model. I have my whales staked, by the way. I have most of this stuff staked. NOSANA, PYTH, whales, just for the record and full disclosure. That cost $1.90. No, $1.91.5. Now it's $1.90. That has sucked compared to some of the others. But we'll break it down and analyze all the results. SOLChat, one of the most recent ones, March 2nd, 2024. Entry price was $1.40, and now it's $14.29, which is getting crazy. Now, let's look at the holding period for all of these, how long I've actually held them so far, because the first one was Render, which technically is now a SOLALT. Sorry about this. Turn off my phone so we're not disturbed. I always turn it off and I forgot. Anyway, holding period so far, and my target is to hold for 1 year. That doesn't mean I'm going to sell Render in 15 days, but my plan to hold, that really disturbed me. My plan to hold is out to the end of this bull run, which could last for 8 years, or it could be over in 12 months. We don't know, but here we are. Render I've now held for 349 days, PYTH 120 days so far, Shadow 62 days, LFINITY 75 days, RAYDIUM 60 days, NOSANA 94 days already, FLUXB 67 days, Jupiter 22 days, Whales 33 days, and SOLChat 19 days. And what's crazy, you'd think the longer you hold these things, the better they do, but no. So we have this thing called the Digital Asset Portfolio Tracker. Again, it's also available on Patreon. It's a big model where you can actually track all your investments, your buys, your sells, your entry prices, pulls in all the real-time information, and you got tons of analytics and charts on it too. That's what I use for this. And you will see, sometimes the logo doesn't pop up for one of them, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Here you see a couple of things. One, several assets have really good results so far. The winner, despite only having for a short window of time, is SOLChat, up 1,057%. Second place is NOSANA, 869%. Third place is Render, 777%. You can't make that up. 777.78%. And this is auto-calculated. This is not me. This is the machine doing it with real-time quotes. And then FLUXB, 492.19%. And then some laggards like PYTH, 220%. Jupiter 167%, etc. And the market's a bit weak now. But what's interesting is this is just, what I'm doing here is not showing you how much I spent, but I assumed I bought 1,000 of each. All right. And there's part of a reasoning behind that is to, because we're going to get to allocations in a minute towards the end of the show. But this is the performance. We've gone through the distance held. Let's look at what they look like on a chart. And you can see there are 4 clear winners. SOLChat number 1, NOSANA number 2, Render number 3, and then FLUXB number 4. Whales is literally only up 0.76%, which is flat. That's been a bit disappointing, but it was a lot higher, but then it came back down to earth. I think it went to $364 at one stage. And, you know, everything has its day. Even the market now you see is kind of weak. Then you have other things like Shadow Token, up not very much. LFINITY, 75%. RAYDIUM, 87%. But the key is these will all pop, I'm pretty sure. Some may go to zero, but we're prepared for that. The money made by just one asset has already covered all of the investments by far. And that was the whole strategy, is buy these very undervalued tokens, wait for them to pop and see what happens. So let's look at the breakdown of what would happen. A theoretical experiment. Imagine I threw just $1,000 at each one of these 10 coins. $1,000, what would happen? And the answer is as follows. Randomly throwing a key, a kilogram, whatever, at every single one, 10,000 becomes 38,000. That is 10 times 1,000 is 10,000 total investment, and that results now in 38,000. And you can see here, if we did just put 1,000 in each, again, Render, Chat, NOSANA, FLUXB are the 4 clear winners. Winner takes most. But there are some other interesting things happening. Now, that's not what I did. I allocated most to what I believe had the most upside. This is the allocations today of where we are. You can see NOSANA is the biggest one, over a third of the portfolio. SOLChat number 2, FLUXB number 3, Whales number 4, well, Jupiter number 4, Whales number 5, and then PYTH is number 6. Again, staked. But the point is, allocations matter. And you can see some very, very tiny amounts in things like Shadow and LFINITY because they have competition. A lot of competition. So when there's an asset with a lot of competition, it makes me nervous, even though it may have a very attractive small market cap. So the key learning for you all here is allocations really do matter when it comes to picking your assets. Now, what everybody wants to know is what's happening next. First of all, I will do, because everybody keeps saying, what's your price target in this? What's your price target in that? Well, I started doing that work, but it's a lot of work, because these things are all a moving target, and there's competition, and there's TAM calculations and all that type of stuff. But in about a week or two, I will have the same list with my price targets and how far we are to those price targets. Like, there are some things that I believe could be worth $1 billion market cap. But the question is, what are they now? If they're trading at 100 million now, that's a 10x potential. But it could also go to 0. And that's where you need to do the risk reward and your probability calculations, your expected values, and determine where you come from. So this is the status now of what I will do next. I will continue to look for these puppies. If I can find more, I will do videos on them. Now, there are some incredibly exciting projects on the way. There are projects that are coming that are going to disrupt assets that have very large market caps already in the old world, that are going to go away because they're being disrupted. And some of them are cross-chain capable, which is really, really powerful. So I'll be doing that. As I mentioned, the updated targets in a week or two when I'm finished. And that's the quick wrap. I hope that gave you what you wanted, because you kept saying, what's the status? What's the update? What's the performance? And the performance has been stunning for some of them names as well. That was always the idea. And you know, and it's not normally the way I invest. I normally go hard into very few assets, but this was an experiment with 5% of my SOL. Throw it at a couple of items, see what sticks. And here, from those 10, 4 have nearly done 10x's already, or one has already in a very short window of time. So that is why we do this. It's fun to play with, but again, remember, very small amount of capital. They're very risky, very early stage, but incredible projects as well. Thank you all for joining. Thank you to the mods in the chat. Hit the like on the way out. If you want more, hey, Super Soul Man and Sir Winston, let me know what you like and what you're thinking of next too. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.